Dear sisters, today I speak directly to the soul of every woman who has spent too much time fixing others while slowly falling apart herself. You've been the pillar, the glue, the safe place. You've carried burdens that were never yours to bear. You've poured from an empty cup and called it strength. But I came to tell you that it's time to refocus. Not on them, not on what they said, not on who left, not on what broke, but on you. When a woman stops explaining herself, when she stops defending her boundaries, when she chooses silence over drama, something shifts. Heaven starts to respond to her focus. Hell trembles when she stops chasing chaos and starts chasing purpose. You don't need to clap back. You don't need to post your pain. You don't need to fight battles that God already declared victory over. You need to focus. Focus on healing. Focus on growth. Focus on your assignment. Because when you focus on yourself, God handles the rest. You see, silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Silence is a weapon in the hands of a wise woman. While they gossip, you're glowing. While they slander, you're building. While they plot, you're rising. Don't you know that God works best in silence? Even in Genesis, when the earth was formless and void, God moved in silence before he spoke order into the chaos. You don't owe anyone your voice when your peace is on the line. Sometimes the best way to respond is with your progress. Your silence says, I'm no longer trying to fit where I no longer belong. It says, I've outgrown this space, and I'm making room for the version of me that God has been molding in private. Sis, when you focus on you, the real you, the anointed, appointed, chosen, called, and crowned version of you, everything that was once out of alignment begins to align. Friendships fall into place, finances begin to stabilize, opportunities locate you. Peace becomes your new standard. Doors that wouldn't budge begin to swing open, not because you forced them, but because you finally stopped trying to prove your worth and started walking in it. You are not responsible for fixing everything that falls apart when you stop shrinking yourself. You're responsible for showing up for the woman God designed you to be. The one who doesn't need approval. The one who doesn't need to explain her growth. The one who can sit in silence because she's secure in who she is. So today, I dare you, yes, dare you, to stop explaining, stop overextending. Stop apologizing for needing space. Go silent, not in fear, but in faith and focus. Because woman of God, when you do, everything, and I mean everything, falls into place. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she must choose between explaining herself for the 100th time or stepping into silence. Not the silence of surrender, not the silence of fear, but the kind of silence that is drenched in divine authority, a sacred quiet that says, I know who I am, and I don't need to argue to prove it. That's not weakness. That is power, raw, radiant, unstoppable power. Silence has long been misunderstood, especially for women. Society tells you to speak up, defend yourself, prove your point, and explain your worth. There's another level, a deeper level, where true strength doesn't make noise. At that level, you don't clap back. You don't retaliate. You don't engage. You simply rise. And sometimes you rise in silence. A woman who chooses silence is not giving up. She is not defeated. She is not weak. She is simply done arguing with people who are committed to misunderstanding her. She is done trying to fix places that no longer feed her. She is done entertaining conversations that distract her from her calling. Her silence is a declaration that she no longer has time to prove what God has already approved. You see, real power doesn't have to announce itself. Walks into a room and shifts the atmosphere without saying a word. That's the power you carry when you decide to stop begging people to see your value and care enough. That's the power you walk in when you understand that your time, your energy, and your peace are too precious to waste on those who drain it. Silence is where transformation begins. It's where wounds begin to heal. It's where strength is forged in the fire of isolation. Often does his deepest work in the most silent seasons. Not everything has to be spoken to be sacred. Not every battle must be fought aloud. Some victories are won in secret. Some mountains are moved in silence. Even Jesus, in moments of great persecution, chose silence. When accused, he didn't respond. When mocked, he didn't defend himself. That silence wasn't weakness. It was purpose. It was prophetic. It was power under control. A woman learns to stay silent while under pressure. She's not suppressing her voice. She's channeling her strength. She knows that not every attack deserves a reaction. She understands that some battles are beneath her level. When you know your worth, you don't argue with critics, you elevate above them. Silence is not the absence of power, it is the proof of it. It takes more strength to hold your peace than to explode in reaction. It takes more courage to walk away than to stay in chaos. Silence is a posture of emotional maturity. It means you've stopped being addicted to noise and started listening to the voice within. There is a version of you that cannot be born in constant noise. She is discovered in the quiet. She is shaped in the silence. She grows when you're no longer distracted by other people's expectations. When you go silent, you stop living for applause and start living with purpose. You stop entertaining chaos and start creating peace. A silent woman is not an invisible woman. She is not retreating, she is reloading. She is pulling back so she can launch forward. While the world thinks she's quiet, she is quietly building, becoming, healing, and planning. Silence is strategic. Her silence is sacred. Her silence is survival. There is clarity in silence. Sometimes God removes the noise so you can hear him more clearly. Sometimes he hides you so he can restore you. And in those silent seasons, don't rush to speak, don't rush to prove. Just rest in the assurance that what is silent now will soon be seen. Silence is also a filter. When you go quiet, you start to see who really values you. You start to notice who checks in when you're not loud and visible. You realize that some relationships were based on your availability, not your value. And when you go silent, you filter out the noise and see what remains. You are not obligated to explain your silence to anyone. You are allowed to protect your space, your mind, and your peace. You are allowed to withdraw, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. You are allowed to grow in private. You are allowed to evolve behind the scenes. You don't have to post your progress. You don't have to share your process. Sometimes the best things in life happen in silence. The world will try to provoke you. It will test your patience. People will misinterpret your silence as arrogance or attitude. Let them. You don't owe them a reaction. Your silence doesn't need to be understood to be powerful. It is not your job to convince people of your growth. Your life will speak. Your results will speak. And when they do, they'll be louder than any words you could have ever said. You are powerful in your silence because you are not reactive. You are reflective and not driven by emotion. You are anchored in purpose. When you learn to respond less and pray more, you begin to tap into a level of spiritual maturity that cannot be shaken. So, woman of strength, invite you today to embrace the stillness. Lean into the quiet. Don't fear it. Don't rush it. Let it mold you. Let it teach you. Let it elevate you. Because when a woman finds her voice in the silence, she becomes unstoppable in the world. Never forget lions don't roar to prove they are lions. They walk like it. They live like it. They lead like it. And so do you. You don't have to raise your voice to make a difference. You don't have to fight to be seen. You already are. And in your silence, you are more powerful than ever. Not just casual attention, not temporary motivation. I'm talking about deep, intentional, unwavering focus, the kind of focus that makes you shut the door, silence the noise, dry your tears, and set your eyes on destiny like your life depends on it, because it does. You see, favor doesn't fall on the distracted. Favor isn't poured out on the disoriented, the double-minded, or the easily swayed. Favor is reserved for the focused. And when a woman aligns her mind, her spirit, and her actions in one direction, favor starts to chase her down. Focus isn't just about productivity. It's a spiritual principle. It's an act of obedience. It says, God, I trust your plan enough to stop entertaining everything that's not connected to it. That's when things begin to shift, because the situation changed, but because you changed your attention. Your clarity became a magnet for the hand of God. Let's be honest, life will try everything to steal your focus. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can distract you. If he can't make you bad, he'll make you busy, too busy to pray, too busy to grow, too busy to hear from God, too busy to work on your assignment. But the moment you pause, the moment you step away from the noise, the moment you say, I choose to focus, you enter into divine favor. Focus demands discipline. It means you might have to log off for a season. It means you may have to step away from circles that no longer feed your spirit. It means saying no to things that look good but aren't God. It means living differently, not because you're better, because you're building something that can't afford to be distracted. You've been asking for a breakthrough. You've been crying out for clarity. You've been seeking confirmation. But what if the delay is not denial? What if the delay is a direct result of divided focus? You can't build what you keep abandoning. You can't birth what you refuse to carry full term. You can't manifest what you're not fully invested in. Favor flows to the woman who's consistent. The woman who shows up every day, not just when it's convenient, not just when she's motivated, when she's committed. God begins to release resources. The right people start to show up, wisdom flows, ideas spark. The vision gets clearer. Not because he suddenly decided to bless you, but because you finally got serious about the assignment. Focus is a form of faith. It's saying, I believe what God said more than what I see. It's trusting the process even when progress feels invisible. It's waking up every day and choosing purpose over popularity, calling over comfort, vision over vanity. And here's the truth focus will cost you. It will cost you relationships. It will cost you approval. It will cost you comfort. But what you gain in return, peace, clarity, progress, is priceless. God doesn't waste focus. Every ounce of energy you pour into your purpose is accounted for. Every tear you cry in silence, every moment you push through discouragement, every sacrifice you make to stay aligned, he sees it and he honors it. There is a woman reading this right now who has been scattered mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You've been everywhere, trying to be everything for everyone and wondering why you feel so empty. Let me tell you why your focus has been fractured. But today, God is calling you back to center. He's calling you back to the vision he whispered when no one else was around. He's calling you to tune out the voices that don't carry your future and tune into the voice of truth. The one that says you were called, chosen, and crafted for something greater. The one that says when you focus, he will pour out favor you didn't earn, grace you don't deserve, and blessings you couldn't have imagined. When your eyes are locked on the vision, your hands become too busy to clap back. Your heart becomes too full to entertain bitterness. Your mind becomes too sharp to tolerate confusion. You begin to move with purpose. You begin to walk in power. You begin to draw favor like a magnet. This is not the season to be casual. This is not the time to be inconsistent. This is the hour where God is elevating focused women who have been in hiding but not idle, women who have been working behind the scenes, women who have been saying no to temporary pleasure so they can say yes to eternal impact. If that's you, I want you to know heaven is responding to your focus. Doors are opening because you didn't give up. People are watching because you stayed the course. Answers are coming because you remained in position. Let them call you quiet. Let them say you've changed. Let them wonder what you're doing in private. Because when the season shifts and your fruit begins to speak for you, they'll see what focus birthed. Don't despise the quiet season. Don't despise the hidden work. The favor that's about to fall on your life is a direct result of the focus you've committed to. Keep building, keep pressing, keep showing up even when it feels like nothing is moving. Trust that something is being prepared behind the scenes. So if you've been distracted, it's time to reset. If you've been discouraged, it's time to realign. Wipe your face, clear your space. Turn down the volume of the world and set your face like flint. You may not always see it, you may not always feel it, but rest assured, when everything around you seems to stop, when the door doesn't open, the phone doesn't ring, the breakthrough hasn't arrived, the answers feel delayed, it is not a sign of absence. It is often a sign of divine activity hidden beneath the silence. There is something holy that happens when the hustle halts and the only sound left is the beating of your heart and the whisper of his presence. And while the world may interpret your season of stillness as failure or delay, God sees it as the perfect place to refine, reveal, release what he has been cultivating within you. In other words, don't move, don't run, Don't retaliate. Don't respond to panic with panic. Just be still. Because even when you're still, God is not. Even when you're waiting, He is working. Even when nothing appears to be happening, everything is aligning strategically, divinely, perfectly. Stillness is where clarity is born. It's in the quiet that you begin to hear the voice of God more clearly. Not the loud voice of emotion, not the voices of people, inner critic or the fear-based thoughts, but the calm, steady, unwavering voice of truth that says, I am with you. I've never left. I am preparing something far greater than you imagined. Sometimes God has to remove you from the chaos just so He can recalibrate your spirit. He has to sit you down, not to punish you, but to prepare you. There are lessons you will never learn while moving. There are breakthroughs that require stillness, not because He can't bless you in motion, but because sometimes your pace is driven by pressure, not purpose. Stillness is where God resets your vision. In stillness, you remember what matters. You realign with the calling. You realize how many distractions you were chasing in the name of productivity. You begin to see where your soul was malnourished because your schedule was overflowing. And here's the truth that we don't like to admit. Many of us are addicted to motion because silence forces us to face ourselves. But stillness is not a confrontation. It's an invitation. An invitation to heal, to reflect, to reconnect with God in a way that business never allowed. It's in the stillness that your roots go deeper, that your prayers become more honest, that your heart becomes more tender, that your ears become more tuned to the Spirit. Some of the most profound miracles in Scripture didn't happen in a whirlwind of activity. They happened in the quiet, in the unseen, in the waiting. Jesus often retreated to still places, to mountains, to gardens, to solitude before stepping into miracles, decisions, and power. He knew that stillness was not a pause in power. It was a place to tap into it. The favor you're praying for, the doors you want opened, the healing you're seeking, it may not come with fireworks. It may not arrive through a loud announcement. It may come in a whisper, in a moment of surrender, middle of your stillness. When Elijah was hiding in a cave, broken and tired, the Lord passed by. First came a mighty wind, but God was not in the wind. Came an earthquake, but God was not in the earthquake. Then came a fire, but God was not in the fire. And finally came a still small voice. And there, God was present. Don't despise the still season. Don't resent the pause. Don't curse the quiet. Embrace it. Lean into it. Sit with it. Because if you allow it, stillness will shape you into a woman who doesn't flinch at storms because she's found her anchor in silence. Stillness is not weakness. It's not defeat. It is the breeding ground for wisdom. It is the posture of someone who trusts God so deeply. She doesn't need to rush, explain, or strive. She waits with dignity. She rests with faith. She listens with expectation. If you're in a season where you feel like nothing is changing, I want to speak this truth over you. Things are changing. You may not see the fruit yet. The roots are growing. You may not feel the shift, but heaven is orchestrating something on your behalf. The favor, the clarity, the healing, it's coming. It won't come through force. It will come through faith. Stay still, not idle, not passive, not lazy, but still in spirit, calm in soul, grounded in truth. Trust that what God is doing in your stillness is far more powerful than what you could do in your own strength. He is preparing you. He is protecting you. He is positioning you. And when the time is right, when the lessons have been learned, when your character has been refined, He will release you. And when He does, you won't move in confusion. You'll move in clarity. You'll walk in wisdom. You'll carry peace. And people will ask, where did she get that strength? And you'll say, in the stillness, you do not owe anyone a by-play report of your transformation. You don't have to shrink back to make others comfortable with your growth. You don't need permission to become who God created you to be. Evolving is not betrayal, it's obedience. And if your growth offends them, let it. Your life is not a democracy. It is a divine assignment. Far too many women stay stuck in cycles of stagnation because they're waiting on applause that will never come. They're waiting for people to validate their next move, explain away their boundaries, justify their glow up. But let me free you today. You owe no one that kind of access. When a woman begins to evolve, she will be misunderstood. People will talk. They'll say she's changed, and they'll be right. She has changed. She had to. Pain changed her. Prayers changed her. Purpose changed her. The wilderness changed her. Late nights crying and early mornings trying changed her. And she's not the same. Not because she's pretending, because she's progressing. You do not have to go back and explain why you no longer tolerate dysfunction. You don't have to sit at tables that feed your trauma just to prove you're still loyal. You don't have to revisit places that once drained you just to prove you're still humble. That's not humility. That's self-abandonment. You can forgive and still move on. You can love people from afar. You can honor your past without dragging it into your future. Evolving doesn't mean erasing. It means ascending. It means stretching into something that once felt impossible. It means aligning your life with your assignment, not with their approval. You see, people will try to put you in a box. They'll hold you to who you were, even when God is calling you higher. They'll say, you used to be this, you used to do that, and you'll smile because you know you're not who you used to be, and that is a miracle. Let them talk. Let them speculate. Let them wonder why you're quieter now, why you're not at every event, why you no longer entertain certain conversations. You don't owe them access to your healing process. You don't have to broadcast every breakthrough. Your growth is not a performance, it's a personal resurrection. When you evolve, you start to lose interest in proving your point. You no longer need to be seen, heard, or applauded. You're no longer trying to fit into spaces that God has clearly moved you out of. You're no longer addicted to being liked because you've discovered the beauty of being aligned. And hear me clearly, evolving doesn't mean you think you're better than anyone. It means you're becoming better than you used to be. It means you're holding yourself to a higher standard. It means you're choosing being peace over pettiness, purpose over popularity, wholeness over hustle. Growth looks good on you. And even if they don't say it, they see it. They feel it. And yes, it might intimidate them. Your boundaries will offend the unhealed. Your confidence will confuse those who once fed off your insecurity. Your elevation will agitate people who benefited from your brokenness. That's not your burden to carry. And let's talk about the guilt that creeps in when you start putting yourself first. The guilt that whispers, you've changed too much. The guilt that says, they won't understand. That guilt is not from God. That guilt is a lie designed to keep you small. You were never meant to stay who you were. You are evolving because God is answering your prayers. You asked for strength, so He's building your character. You asked for peace, so He's removing chaos. You asked for growth, so He's stretching you beyond the familiar. You can't become who you're destined to be while clinging to who you used to be. The only one you are accountable to in this season is God. He is not asking for your explanations. He is asking for your obedience. He is not asking you to convince people of your growth. He is asking you to walk in it, to own it, to carry it with grace and boldness. And as you evolve, you will start to see everything else evolve too. Your circle will shift. Your language will change. Your desires will purify. Your goals will mature. What once entertained you will begin to irritate you. What once broke you will no longer trigger you. You'll begin to see yourself through heaven's eyes, not the lens of your past, not the labels others placed on you, but through the truth of who God says you are. So don't look back. Don't slow down. Don't minimize your light to make anyone else feel comfortable in the dark. If they really loved you, they'd celebrate your evolution. If they really knew your story, they'd honor your healing. And if they're meant to walk with you, they'll rise with you. Because your growth is not optional. It is necessary. It is holy. It is the evidence that God is not finished with you. And as long as He is still breathing purpose into your lungs, you owe it to yourself and to Him to keep becoming. There comes a moment when you realize that the life you want, the peace you long for, the progress you pray for, purpose you were born for, doesn't begin when everyone else is happy. It doesn't begin when you've fixed everyone's problems or when you've exhausted yourself proving your worth. It begins when you make a sacred, life-altering decision to prioritize yourself For too long, you've been putting yourself at the bottom of your own list. Too long, you've poured into others while leaving yourself dry. You've shown up for everyone except the woman in the mirror. You've given out time, love, energy, wisdom, strength, and all of it while neglecting the one vessel God is using to carry his assignment in the earth you. Let me tell you a divine truth. Everything begins to align when you begin to prioritize yourself. When you stop being the emergency response team for everyone else's chaos and start tending to the fire in your own soul, that's when healing begins to happen. That's when vision becomes clearer. That's when peace becomes your normal, not your prayer request. Don't misunderstand me. Prioritizing yourself is not selfishness, it's stewardship. You are a temple, a treasure, a carrier of purpose. And when you don't take care of that vessel, everything else connected to you suffers. You cannot pour into your children, your business, your marriage, your ministry, or your dreams if you're constantly running on empty. When you begin to prioritize yourself, you begin to say, I am worthy of rest. I am worthy of boundaries. I am worthy of investing in myself. I am worthy of joy, clarity, and space to grow. You see, alignment doesn't come through hustle alone. It comes through intentionality. It comes when you make decisions that honor your peace, your calling, your mental health, and your spiritual growth. When you choose you, not in arrogance, but in alignment, God begins to shift things in your favor. Here's the thing. When you stop prioritizing yourself, you unintentionally teach others to do the same. You send a message to the world that your needs don't matter, that your boundaries are flexible, that your voice can be ignored. When you rise in the power of your identity, when you begin to protect your peace like it's sacred dash, because it is, and when you invest in your emotional, physical, and spiritual health, you stop chasing alignment, and it starts chasing you. Do not feel guilty for choosing you. Do not apologize for saying no without an explanation. Do not shrink to fit into spaces you have outgrown. Every time you abandon yourself to please others, you create internal chaos that only God can quiet. He called you to live abundantly. But abundance doesn't come to a scattered soul. It comes to the woman who knows her worth and protects it like her future depends on it. Because it does. You can't fulfill your calling while neglecting your soul. You can't lead others to healing while ignoring your own pain. You can't expect divine alignment when you're out of alignment within. So I challenge you today, put yourself on the list again. Put your healing at the top. Put your dreams back in motion. Put your needs in view. The more you show up for yourself, the more aligned your life becomes. You are allowed to choose yourself and trust that God will take care of everything and everyone you had to step away from. The world will not collapse when you take a moment to breathe. The relationships that matter will adapt to your growth. The people who truly love you will respect your boundaries. Let them go so that you can make space for what's coming, for the kind of peace that settles your heart at night, for the kind of love that doesn't drain you, for the kind of purpose that excites you, and for the kind of favor that follows a woman who knows her value. Because that alignment is not just external, it starts inside. When your soul is at peace, your decisions become clearer, your spirit becomes lighter, your yes becomes more powerful, your no becomes more confident.